Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cryptocurrency Bull Market Watch. This is a live stream on Wednesday, the 21st of November 2018. And we're going to go through the spreadsheet once again and go through all of the cryptocurrencies that are trading on Poloniex and update the spreadsheet so that we can see how far along things are towards the real confirmation of the bull market in cryptocurrencies coming back to bless us all with profits. Here we are looking at the price of Ardor. And this is the daily view. So if we zoom back out to a longer term view, you can see I've got some scribbles on this chart. And indeed, the price has done pretty much what I scribbled there. Let's zoom in on this. And so we've had a very big bounce. I'm going to clean that scribble up. We've had a very big bounce here today in many of the cryptocurrencies. They all came off these bottoms that we were looking at yesterday, and they've really rocketed. Sort of like a cork being held underwater. When you let go of it, it just takes right off. And many of the cryptos were pushed down to crazy levels, lows that they haven't been, in some of the projects that they've never been to these lows. Many of the projects is right down to historical lows, the beginning of the project. And a whole range of them were down to last December's lows, which for many of them, that's the lowest they've been in a long time. And of course, after December last year, things took off and really blasted up. It's a pretty different market here this year. Last year, we had Bitcoin taking off and going parabolic, and that pushed all of the altcoins down for most of the time. And as Bitcoin started to top out, then the pressure came off the altcoins and they all blasted up like crazy as people were taking their Bitcoin and putting into altcoins. Now we have Bitcoin crashing down, and it's pushing all of the altcoins down, down, down. But many of the altcoins didn't get pushed down as violently as Bitcoin has gone down, as percentage-wise. But now they're all bouncing up. As soon as Bitcoin went sideways here, all of the alts are bouncing up. And we'll have to see how this plays out over time. But, hello Chandra, good to see you here. I did not send out an email today to announce that I was going to do this live stream. Busy with other things through the day and didn't get a chance to, so we'll just do it all and update the spreadsheet. And I'm actually having trouble with the spreadsheet now. Whoops, this is IntroToCryptos.ca website where we've got all of the coin market cap data, all of the 24-hour changes, 24-hour volume and available supply. And we can click into each different coin and get a whole bunch of additional data on it as well. So here we can get the overview of it. We've got a calculator along the side, so you can put in however many coins you have, and it'll tell you how much it's worth and more information about the project itself, where to go and buy and sell Ripple, the charts for it, all sorts of details and information on the website now about all like 1,500 of the different cryptocurrencies. It's a really great resource, and I'm happily going through and updating it and customizing it so that there's even more expanded information on there. But the main thing we want to do here today is update this spreadsheet. And as I was about to say, is that I'm having trouble updating the spreadsheet now because everything has changed so dramatically that now we're starting out with whole new bottom formations. We've got a whole new bottom here. And I'm going to just figure out a way to mark that in there, that we've got a new low that we have to contend with now. So let's search for a new 1, 2, 3 bottom formation when we've got a new low come in like this. And so our sheet, our chart over here just doesn't continue after this kind of change in the market. We have to restart the whole search again, pretty much. So I'm going through and I'll just do commentary on each of the coins that are there and see what's going on. Let's go back out to the 3-month view. We did say yesterday that in basic attention token, that even though the moving averages had crossed over here for our simple trading plan, that it might be okay to override that and hold into this position because it's already profitable. We entered it into the position here, and we rode it all the way through all this stuff, and now we've got a nice double bottom turning out here. And if I zoom in to the 1-month view and then to the 1-week view, we can see that this has turned into a nice double bottom, And we do have a divergence in the RSI here. At the same time, we've got the down below here, we've got the on balance volume. Like on balance, is the volume positive or negative? Is there more selling or more buying? And when this is above and green, then there's more buying going on. And when it's below and red, there's more selling going on. And this gives some pretty good insight into the markets when you're seeing these patterns, these formations. Mix it with the RSI divergence and the on balance volume, and you're getting a really good indication of what's actually going on. And so I wouldn't want to be selling out of this coin right now. In fact, this is a good spot to be adding on to that. And we had identified that yesterday with this parallel line here, that this is where we would consider to be adding on, because it shows that the momentum has changed the other direction. So there's different strategies for entering on these, but this is sort of the more safe, prudent strategy, is to wait until the momentum has really changed and given you that trading signal. But with this triangle pattern and these double bottoms here, you could enter right away and use rule number 1. Rule number 1 says that assume you are wrong when you put on a trade and reduce or remove your position unless it proves you correct. That way your losses are going to be smaller, because you're taking your losses right away. The other rule is rule number 2, where you only put on a portion of your position. Hey there, Klaus. Good to have you here. I'm glad to have you along as well. I'm tickled pink to do this stuff, and I'm really happy to see people turning up regularly to follow along with this. Doing the same thing over and over day by day is really sort of building the neurons in your brain for pattern recognition. Hello, Dan. Good to have you here. And Gandhi. It looks like it's, for me, this is an upside down head and shoulders. But you're right. This is, if it broke down below this lower line, this would definitely be a head and shoulders failure or confirmation, actually. But considering that we're in a position that this resisted this massive drop that Bitcoin did, we can see that this has resisted it. It came down a little bit as Bitcoin came down. Then it's resisted heartily as Bitcoin came down the second time. And as we go through the rest of them, we'll see a pattern like we saw in Ardor, where many of them are just bursting right up off of this bottom now. So, hey, thank you very much for pressing that like, Professor Wally. I appreciate that. And it's sort of the fee I charge for going through these videos with me. Press that like button. That's your payment for this information here. And if you like to support the channel, you can do a super chat like Professor Wally has, and he has maintained the status of the channel boss here down at the bottom for a long time. I'd have to go back in the videos and see how long, but pretty much since we put the stream boss detail up here, Professor Wally's been owning it. And the only way you can get to be a stream boss is by leaving a tip and knocking his hit points down. And the other way you can become a stream boss, or you can knock his hit points down, is to subscribe to the channel while this live chat's on, and that knocks points off of him. All right, so for me, this looks like a great buy, but like Gandhi said, if prices were to fail below this second parallel line, that would be a get out signal for sure. Then I would have to respect my moving average crossover here and tell myself, well, I should have listened to it sooner. But sometimes I take other things into consideration, and not just a hard and fast rule of when this crosses over, I do that. There's more that gets involved with it. And in our spreadsheet, I had marked that as a buy, and I'm gonna change it now so that it's an alert. So we've already maintained the buy. It stays as a buy. We didn't sell out of that position at all yet. We'll see how long this goes. But now we're looking to add on to it, like we did with Ripple, and that's turned out to be very good. Now I'm going to go to BNT. Oh, wow. So this really took a dive with Bitcoin. Right along with Bitcoin, it dove. Now let's zoom into the 1-day view, and we can see what happened here. It gave a little bit of strength, and then bam, lots of buying pressure, and then it all came back down. So this is, for me, this is what I call a pre-pump candle. There's somebody who's big in the market. They bought a whack of these coins, and I can't see. it's not as easy to see here as it is right on the Poloniex website, how much volume was that, how many Bitcoin of volume that was in those 5 minutes right there. A lot. And then there was a lot of selling. So the pre-pump candle tells me that there's been something big going on. And since it has pulled all the way back, it's sort of like my opportunity then to jump in there. And even though it's a smaller time frame than what we're focusing on, we're trying to focus on the 12-hour bar so that we don't get killed in these kind of movements that are taking off like this, right? You get this pump and then a dump, and if you're trading in the 5 or 15-minute bars, you get a lot of this. You get whipsawed a lot. But in this circumstance, now that things have come down to the way it is, this is a small little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So we have the bottom here. It came up, it came back, and it pulled, and it blasted past there. Now it's coming back and retesting the number 2 spot. And this is a valid entry signal, though the time frame is generally shorter than I normally trade. I do take it into consideration during some moments. And then it's really important to use rule number 1 when we're getting in after a big dump like this. But you really can't let an opportunity like this go by. Sometimes you just got to act on it. Things have come all the way back here like this. It's really giving us a great opportunity. And then the risk to reward ratio is pretty favorable, because if it pulls back at all from this entry spot, now that it came back all the way to this number 2 point, then you know to get out. Like, there's just very little room here for any error. If it goes down 50 Satoshi, you just take your position off. So this kind of opportunity is rare, and you've got to watch and watch and watch and watch and watch and watch. It's like swinging a bat. If you're a split second too late, you miss that opportunity. The price goes way up. So this is a great one, and I just don't even know how to mark this in the spreadsheet, because it's not following the simple trading plan. Because the simple trading plan, if we go back here and we jump out to the 12-hour bars, it would say, oh, we got lots of time to wait for this to turn around and give us a confirmation. It's a new number 1 point. We got to wait for the number 2 point, the number 3 point. And usually for the simple trading plan, it takes a couple weeks. It could take a week for this to build out something that would match the trading plan. So it has to do something like this and then go up. So this is a conundrum, actually, that the markets have put us in, because there's a different way to act depending on the market conditions. If the market's going sideways, you can't trade a trend trading strategy because it doesn't work. If the market's trending and you try to day trade on it and you try to do a choppy market signal, you miss all the profits. So when the market changes, you've got to be ready to adapt. You can't just hammer the same trading strategy. That things have changed. And so it does bring up the opportunity to be jumping in with a small position here on something that's pulled back this far. Knowing, as we see on the side here, all these liquidations going by, it just makes me have to go over to Bitcoin and take a look at it, because there's liquidations going top and bottom. Here's another short getting liquidated. Let's zoom in on this. So the short's getting liquidated. There's another short getting liquidated. As prices are going up here, people are getting liquidated. So there was a whole bunch of liquidations as prices were coming down. As prices were dumping here, there was a whole bunch of longs getting liquidated. And then it turned around and a whack of shorts got liquidated as it turned around. It was a really volatile and a nasty trading signal to try to jump into, which is the reason why I try to go into the 12-hour bars and just sit back and just let the momentum change and not try to jump in and out on the waves, but wait till the tide is turned and jump in on the tide. Then you can go surfing. But if you're trying to jump in on these chops, your timing has to be much more perfect. But if you look at this, it is a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation shaping up. And so if Bitcoin has pressed itself down as far as it can go, hey, old Scott, good to see you here. Dest, good to see you here as well. Getting the whole crew coming out now. And Klaus, like and subscribe is done. Awesome, I appreciate that. That is fantastic. As I was saying earlier, my fee for these videos is that you press on the like button firmly. This is a great chart, and it really looks like it's taking off. It does look like it's going to be taking off. Let's zoom out to the 3-day, zoom out to the 1 week, and we're starting to see, I guess I'm doing this chart out of order, but there's a divergence in the RSI. There's our bottom, pretty much flat. So it's showing something different is going on. We're seeing that the on-balance volume was negative as prices were coming down. It was negative selling. You can see the big red candles all the way through there. Now the volume is faded back a little bit from what it was as the prices were coming down. But it is making the bottom formation, RSI divergence. If it gave us some more positive on-balance volume down here, that would be better. It's still a little bit negative. So it's risky to be jumping in and doing any kind of trades, especially high leverage trades at 100 times. On my smartphone screen, I do not see the like feature. Okay. I'm not sure. There should be a button somewhere. But you are absolved from having to push the button if you can't see it. All right, I'm off track. Let me close this so I don't open it again. BCH is off the charts, like it's not there anymore. I've got to put the other ones into this spreadsheet. There's a noisy truck going by. And let's go back to Poloniex and go to BCN. My dad has a whack of this stuff, and I told him just keep it. It may be taken off pretty soon. And we can see that it's made some moves here today. It's gone up a couple Satoshi. And I really don't know what it'll do because it's not listed on other exchanges. Everything's going to be concentrated here. But it is a nice formation. It's within these ranges, and it would be a buy signal if it broke above these levels. So I'm going to put it as an alert. I did already. I'm going to put it as an alert again today so that we're noticing it. And Bitcoin, as we were just looking at, I got to put it as an alert too, and respect that right now the moment has changed where the simple trading plan just doesn't apply to this moment today, as we've seen prices come in this crazy action. It's different. It may evolve back to something that I'll trade more rationally, but here we go again with BitShares. So we're zoomed right into the lowest price they've been. Let's go out to 1 year. The lowest price they've been since last December, all the way back here. They haven't been down to this level. And we're at a very oversold signal with the RSI. That's like the most oversold it's been all year. It hasn't been down to this level since ever on this chart. It's never been down to this oversold level, down this far. And so that's pretty amazing. And we got some big volume coming in here. There's a lot of selling volume. But now if I zoom into the 1 week view, we can see there's a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's kind of a 3, 2, 1 bottom formation. And we see the RSI at this time frame is showing positive, showing a good setup here. On balance volume is turned from negative and getting a little bit positive here. All these indicators say that because it's at these extreme lows, it is an opportunity to be buying in here. And the formation and the low risk to reward ratio is great, because if it does fade off a little bit, just get out, because it's at such low levels that there's another opportunity here. And if you were to get into something like this and it turns positive and you get a little bit of movement above your level, then put your stop loss right above your entry level right away and keep yourself protected on this, because it is very volatile right now, as we saw with Bitcoin and people getting liquidated in both different directions. So if I go into the 3-day view, this is looking even better, where you can see this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. You may want to wait until it crosses this level. Give it the time. It may fight a little bit more. It may get a few more ups and downs before it does take off. But this really seems to be following what Bitcoin is doing. As Bitcoin strength is coming in, then this is showing strength too. And we got a pretty big candle of buying here going on. So there's somebody else that's agreeing with my prognosis here. So I'm going to put this one as another alert. We're getting alerts all over the place here. And these are alerts that you would have to be acting on here between today and tomorrow. I think it's going to be a fast, excuse me. I think these are going to be fast to move when they do, because it's that cork underwater thing. This one's not quite as favorable yet. It's still fading off. It's not giving that turnaround type of feel to it like some of the other ones are. Even at this range, if I go to the 3-month view and zoom it back, it needs more time to set up. So I'll leave this one marked as neutral, just no marking at all. Now clam, this one is interesting. Dan says must it be a 1-2-3 or can it be a 3-2-1 bottom formation? I always like the 1-2-3 much better than the 3-2-1, because the 3-2-1 is not showing higher lows, it's showing lower lows. So we could have gone to this area back here and said, oh, we have a 3-2-1 formation, and then we can know in foresight that prices came down. But generally, if you have lower lows, things are still going down. And so I'm looking for the reversal, the turnaround of that, much more than the 3-2-1. So, and they're general, they're rough. So if you have them coming down like this, then we have a 3-2-1, but it's so close that if it's breaking above these levels, then that is just as much of a buy signal. So sometimes it's a double bottom. It looks like an exact W. And this is what the rational investor Brian Beamish, he took the same courses as I did way back when Ken Roberts was teaching the world's most powerful money manual and course. And that's where we learned the 1-2-3 bottom formation, or the W formation, or the failed retest of a recent low, or there's lots of different names for it, because it's been around for more than 100 years that people have been using that same trading pattern. So it's got a lot of different names. All right, clam, it doesn't look like much here, but when we zoom into the 1-day view, oh, there's a big skewer down here, but look at all these candles to the upside. It looked to me like there was something robotic going on here, some sort of buying going on as soon as there was enough volume above the market that it was just buying it, and then immediately selling the price back down again, so that the wick was there and the bot would buy up everything above it and then sell a little bit to push the wick down to the bottom again. And this looks very robotic to me, except that then there's this big skewer down here that sort of undoes what I was looking at. But even in the 3-day view, you can really see that there's something building up here. And since, if we go to the 5-year view, this is at historical levels, right at the lowest lows it's been all the way. And we have this long, lazy downtrend. Now we have this sort of robotic purchasing going on. That I'm watching for pre-pump patterns now. This is giving me, just that feeling that there's something building up here, and the charts are telling us. So I want to pay attention to that, and I'm going to mark it as an asterisk and an alert. So let me put an asterisk in here. Let me try that again, so that we know that there's something to watch for on that chart, something fishy going on there. Civic Coin. Civic Coin had a big pre-pump and it's come all the way back down. So this is something like we saw in Ardor. Must have been in Ardor that had that pre-pump and then it pulled back. We didn't go through very many coins here. No, it was in why am I having trouble seeing it? BNT. Oh, it's because it's so obviously marked in green here right beside me, I can't see it. So BNT gave us this big signal like this, and now we're seeing it in Civic. A little bit different timing, but Civic came all the way down. It's made this 1, 2, 3, bought a huge purchases, and then it's settled all the way back down now. So now it's giving us a very nice opportunity. I'm going to zoom out to the 3-day view. You notice how I'm zoomed into such a close view on this as well. So even on this, we're seeing the RSI is looking good. We're seeing the on-balance volume really picked up on that huge skewer of purchasing. And so I like it. A break above these levels would certainly be a buy out of this chart formation, even though it's such a close, tight range. But it could be, even right this moment, a buy signal just to jump in there. It's already shown that things are changing direction, and again, we would have a manual stop that if we would watch it for the first couple hours of being in the trade, and we would manually stop ourselves out if it's not proving us correct right away. Especially on this kind of retracement now, if these things don't prove us correct right away, then it's time to close the position and reevaluate if you are considering it. Other than that, it's lots of time to wait. There's lots of time. There's no need to be jumping in on something this small, except that it's an extraordinary circumstance. There's lots of time for it to wait to make its bottom formation and confirm, and then jump on when the tide has changed, rather than, you know, the tsunami brought all the water back before the big wave comes in, right? And it's sometimes, if this is happening, we can recognize it and get in front of the big wave sooner, rather than waiting for the tide to slowly come in. This is probably going to be a wave that's going to move quickly when it does. So right now, to do this video and to observe these charts is pretty good timing. And I'm going to mark this as another alert from where it is, because it's a different strategy that I'm looking at here today, simply because of the weather conditions. Wow, look at this. So it had 1, 2, 3 bottom formation right here in the short term. We're looking at the 3-day view. So in the 1 week view, we can see this was a very quick 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. One of the reasons I'm wanting to be alert to the quick 1, 2, 3 bottoms is because of what happened last year in December. We had prices make a bottom formation through November of last year, and then at the end of November, prices broke down lower out of these bottom formations and immediately made little wee 1, 2, 3 bottom formations, and the prices started to take off and really went. So this is sort of what I'm wanting to be aware of and be prepared for that situation. And this one is an example where that little 1, 2, 3 bottom turned in and away the price went. Would I jump onto it now? I don't like to move on something that's already moving. That's one of the reasons that the consolidation and the 1, 2, 3 pattern is good, because it gets you in just before the move starts, and then you can decide whether or not you're going to stay into it. Once the move starts, now it's got a much greater potential to be doing a pullback as people are taking profits. So once it's moved like this, now I have to wait for the pullback. I have to wait for it to confirm something of a better bottom formation, and then I could be getting in after it's confirming that bottom formation. But right now, we're too late. And so I can't mark that as an alert. And how do I mark that in the chart? I guess I'll leave it neutral for now, because this is a different chart pattern. I'm marking it differently. And we're looking at decreed now. So decreed, how far did it come back? Just below, just barely below the lows that it had done back in August and September. It just dipped below those. And if we zoom into the 1 week view, the 3-day view, so here's another one that's made that quick bottom formation. Here's a very little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and it's broken out above that and gone up. It even came back and retested that number 2 spot twice. And it is some people's trading strategy to see the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, wait for the breakout, and when it comes back to touch these the number 2 point, that's their buy signal. So they wait for the breakout, then they wait for it to come back and touch that and do the retest, and that's their buy signal on the other side of this breakout. And it's valid. It really happens so often that the prices come back to retest the number 2 point that it's a good strategy sometimes. So what do we do with this market? Now that it's done starting on the move, it's harder for me to want to purchase it. If I can catch it on this 1, 2, 3 or the retrace down here, those are good spots for me. I like that. Once it's done this, now I want to wait for it to form a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So the 1, 2, 3s always nest. We have a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here and it broke out. Now prices have come up. It could come down and it would give us another 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, a larger bottom formation. So they nest inside each other as this matures bigger and bigger. And that's how I would have to look at this one and say that it's not an alert yet. I have to give it a neutral rating because of that, the timing of it. If I had been looking at this early this morning, I probably would have been more inclined to grab that as a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, even though it is very small and it is not waiting for the 12-hour bars. We're in an extraordinary circumstance, and even more important to use rule number 1 to close that position if it's not proven you correct right away. And also for risk control, as soon as it does go up this far, say you did buy in right here and you had the patience to wait, or you were buying in on this bounce back here, as soon as it's breaking up to these levels, I would move my stop loss up above my entry point, just a little bit above my entry point, and then I could relax a bit because it's already proven me correct. Now I can wait a little bit for a retracement to be adding on to that position. So because of doing it at such a short time frame here and it's such a volatile market, I'd really want to have my stop losses put up just above my entry point in a situation like this. Did you bite? This is good. So we have a double 2 here and prices have consolidated. What do we see for the RSI? So I'm going to move the unbalanced volume a little bit smaller. The RSI is showing us some pretty good stuff because we've got lower lows in the price and we've got higher lows in the RSI here. So that's a pretty good divergence and I like to see that. The one thing I would like to have seen better though is the on-balance volume going positive here. It would have been good to have a negative and then turn into a positive. And it may, as prices are starting to come up out of this, it may be that that on-balance volume turns over to the positive side at the same time as this is breaking out of this formation. And of course we could easily wait for it to come out of this formation and let that bottom mature a little bit better, because this is still a downtrend. It has not changed trends yet, and this is one of the dangers of jumping in on these small time frames, is that the downtrend hasn't changed. It hasn't changed directions yet. So we're trying to pick bottoms, and this is often where you get killed trying to pick the bottoms. And it's better to stand back a little bit from the market, right? I'm giving you a couple different perspectives. To stand back a little bit from the market, let everybody else take those risks and be in there when things are so volatile. And there's still a ton of profit to be made, even if it only comes up to these levels. That's still fantastic gains from 300 to 460. That's huge gains if it only does that kind of move. So it's easy to get excited and to see what everything is doing, but sometimes that's the time to take action. So there's a couple different ways to play this one. And how do I mark that? Because I'm not necessarily trading the simple trading plan now. I've changed it to suit the circumstances here, and I'm going to put that as an alert on here just because. Now Dogecoin yesterday we had marked as an alert, and sure enough it has really taken off. And this one I like much better, the chart pattern. We have the diverging RSI that we noticed yesterday. We saw the on-balance volume go from negative to positive before the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation broke out. And now we have the breakout and confirmation of above it. So this was a great call yesterday, and it's turned into a buy signal for us. And we'll follow that one over time. EOS. Wow, this one really took some hammers. Really took some hammering. And really volatile. So this is what I mean by it's dangerous to be playing these little wee 1, 2, 3 bottom formations. Look at how this went up and then down and then way up and then way back down. Absolutely killer if you're trying to anticipate this. This is one of the reasons that I step back to the 12-hour bars and I wait for the moving averages to cross over and the downtrend line and everything, so that I don't get killed in markets just like that. That's just a tough one. So because it's being so crazy, I'm going to wait on this one for it to give us a much better turnaround, and I'll call these levels here as our... The Doge chart is still ugly. Doge USD. It is something that I don't look at enough, is there's another liquidated short in Bitcoin, as I don't look at the USD price of it. I keep the perspective always on against Bitcoin, and I always have Bitcoin in the background so that I sort of know what I'm judging everything against. And that could be, it could be a trouble where it would be a good idea to have the US dollar here on the chart as well. But the thing is, when I switch from chart to chart, it doesn't switch and give me the chart I'm looking at and the US dollar value of it. I actually did some of that studies here. So basic attention token. I created this specific chart for basic attention token, and it's crazy. One of these is Bitcoin against Bitcoin. The candlesticks is basic attention token. I think it's versus Bitcoin. And one is versus Ethereum, and the other is versus US dollar. So if they're so disparate that it doesn't even fit on the same chart. One of them is so different than the others, it doesn't even fit on the same chart. And I was trying to do just that, to look at the price of the coin versus Bitcoin, the price versus US dollar, and the price versus Ethereum, because this is traded on Bitfinex this way. And it's much harder to deal with. So out of even BTC, even though BTC got hammered, it's partly because of laziness. Partly because of laziness. So to do that, I would have to go to Poloniex, remove my favorites, and go USD, and then start going through them alphabetically. So here's Doge against USD, and there's the 15-minute bars. There's just not enough history in this, actually. Oh, it's because it's USDC. They've updated this now to add more of those USDC markets. But it's still a bottom formation. And so that's one of the reasons I stick to just the Bitcoin charts. But I imagine, like the same things would hold true no matter what chart you're looking at. The same patterns hold true. And if you're looking at it against the US dollar, then those patterns you'd still look for that bottom formation. And the moving average crossover and all of those things all still match up. But for me, it's laziness. It's too much work to do every different view of all of the different markets. I pick this one view, repeat it over and over again so I can make a decision this against that. And it could be a a place where I could improve and have better accuracy in my trades if I was to limit the number of markets, look at Bitcoin versus the market, the US dollar versus the market, and get a better perspective that way. But instead, what I'm doing is I'm averaging out all of the cryptos, and I'm trying to get this whole overall view of the bull market. Because if you've read the book Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, there's a point in there where the protagonist is talking about another trader who, when people would come up and say, do you think I should buy this stock or that stock? And the guy would say, well, it's a bull market, you know, as though he's giving out this super tip of wisdom. And most people overlook it. They look for, yeah, okay, but what should I buy? You know, which one should I buy and what price should I buy it at? And when it's a bull market, when we can really identify that it is a bull market and everything is turned, everything is going to go. And so it gets to be, I try to figure out the averages by doing all of these coins and all of these charts. And then I know overall the whole average, doesn't matter what I'm buying, I could buy anything pretty much when that bull market is starting. They're all going to go up. So that's how I rationalize not taking the time to go through the US dollar value of it. And I did wonder at sometimes where, you know, altcoins would be going down while Bitcoin's going up. Other times altcoins are going up while Bitcoin is going up. And wondering are the altcoins actually pegged to the US dollar more than they are to Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin's going up and they are staying the same price, then they're pegged to the US dollar, not to Bitcoin. Anyway. EOS was neutral. Ethereum Classic. Just set my popcorn sales on Doge. Awesome. Very good, Des. I think that there's going to be more popcorn moves, and that's always the beginning of the bull trend. We'll see those popcorn moves blast off and then everything come back. And here's an anti-popcorn move, way down and back up again. And so having buy orders way below a market is also a strategy. And as soon as you would sell right out of that right away. So anyway, this is still a fail. It's still down to crazy lows, and it's not giving me the feel that it's going to be turning around, but it is in the same time frame as everything else. So maybe I shouldn't be just discounting it without giving it fair shake now that everything else has come down to these levels. They've all reset. Here we have the moving average, the RSI divergence. It's coming down to the 2 candles here. So it could be a place where this turns around. But I just don't have the love for Ethereum Classic. But it is down to those historical levels. So if I follow my own pattern instead of my own biases, prejudices, then I would have to give this one a fair shake. It is down to historical levels, right down to where it's been a few different times in history. And so I should give this fair shake and say, you know, it could be turning around. I'm not going to jump onto it. It's just, it needs to give me a bigger bottom formation for me to like this one. Ethereum I liked better though, because it came down to these lows here in September, and it's consolidated, and as Bitcoin dropped, look at how high Bitcoin was here versus where Bitcoin is now. And Ethereum is higher, you know, relatively, it's maintained more strength relative to what Bitcoin has done. So that's very bullish. And given that it's given us that overall bullish signal, and it's making this consolidation, I like this chart much better. And I would call it, you know, above here, or if you're patient, above here. Certainly if it's turning around and giving us a few days of turnaround and it's coming up to these levels, this is where I'd be watching for a purchase on this one. So I'm going to put that as an alert just so that we are watching it more carefully. And now Factum, I actually think it's a sellout and get out of this market now. Where is it? It's done a great run here. And we've got 3 lower highs on the RSI and 3 higher highs on the market. Come on now. So I'm using the on balance volume oscillator lazy bear indicator down here, and it's still showing on balance that the buying pressure is positive and not turned negative yet. That RSI is giving me a warning. Even at this level, we're still seeing pretty good volume here, pretty good volume here, less volume here on the second high, and less volume overall here on the next run up. Let's drag this out of the way. And so all of these things are making me think this may have reached a top for now. Then the other thing that we've been doing is the channel to see where it is inside this channel. So may hold it until it makes a 1, 2, 3 top formation and the moving averages cross over. You may hold it until it breaks out of this channel, and you may, like we scale into a trade at the bottom where we put on a part of our trade, then we add on to it. It may be time to take off a part of the trade and then take off more of it afterwards. It's hard to say if it's done going up or not, but it's made such a move. Really, when you look at it in the 12-hour bars, it's just bounced straight up. And coming up to important support and resistance levels here, it just gives me the feeling that it's needs to take a breath now from where it is and pull back a little bit. And it wouldn't be unusual at all for it to pull back to the 50% level. Not unusual at all. So another strategy, since it's so much above these 12-hour moving averages, is to just do nothing and assume that this trend is going to go on very much longer, like we did with the basic attention token, and let it come all the way back. There's no worries about it. Look for the place to add on. Hold that trade. Don't be jumping in and out and lose your position. Wait for it and add on to it. So there's a few different ways to approach this one. Clear that up. But to me, it feels like it's topping out. It's done its big ballistic move, and on the 1-day chart, it has broken below a 1, 2, 3 top formation. It came up and retested that and pulled back down. And this is an important one all the way along, that it's broken down below and then come up to retest it. So these are the things that give me the feeling that it may be running out of steam here. And we'll see how that plays out after a while. This is pretty interesting. So I'll leave it remaining as a buy, and I'm going to put a couple asterisks in there as well. As soon as I type the right. Was that a double top? No. It's not a double top. It's come up and made a 1, 2, 3 top formation. And you could call this the 1, 2, 3, and then when it broke below this, could be an exit signal right there. Then it's come back and retested this level. It's come up to retest that number 2 spot, the 1, 2, 3, or the 1, 2, 3. Anyway, it's retesting this support and resistance that happens to coordinate exactly with this top over here. So now this is turned, it was resistance, now it turned into support, and now it's back turned into resistance again. And it would have to, break above this level to change my mind, but it's making me think that it's time to close this position and take a profit and reevaluate. Game credits. Well, it's starting its own bottom formation here again. So nothing going on here. Zoom into the 1-week view. It's doing much the same as everything else, where it's come down at Bitcoin's lows here. It's making a little wee 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. If it breaks above that, that is actually a little wee 1, 2, 3 bottom formation buy signal just on such a short time frame. The on balance volume has gone from negative, negative, negative to positive. So that's pretty good. But I don't like the RSI as much on this. So it doesn't jump up to me as an alert. Let's take this longer term view of it. Not yet. It could be, but when it comes up to these levels, it's going to find some resistance there. So I'll leave it as neutral right now. Gas. It's pulled back to these levels. So I like this one better than I like game credits because game credits came way below old levels. And this is coming back down to recent levels. So that's more favorable to me. And then when I zoom into the 3-day view, we can see that it's kind of made a little bottom formation here. I would want it to mature a little bit on this one. It's not giving me the same feeling as some of the other ones. And I love to document this because I'd like to know if I'm right or wrong afterwards and then reevaluate. So I won't put this one as an alert. It's not jumping at me that much. I'll leave it as neutral. GNT. It's given a little bit of move here. Still big on balance volume is negative. Zoom into the 3-day, and this is looking much better. We had some big dumps of volume here and a big dump of volume here. That's why the overall on balance volume is negative. But if you look at the volume here versus the volume here, the selling was much weaker as it came down to here. So the bears are running out of steam. And now we've seen it come up and do this again with a little bit of a candle there. I would like it to come retrace back a little bit and then break above these levels and go up to the 1-month view so we get a little bit more perspective. 3-month view, it's not bad. It's right down to these historical levels, so those that are doing this are more favorable. More favorable for sure on that very small time frame 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So this is basically the springboard trade entry on a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So you're not waiting for the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation to confirm like we did over here, but you're waiting for that number 3 point to show up, and in such a way that it has its own little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation inside that number 3 point. And that is potential for the springboard trade entry right in this range. I'm going to put that as an alert so that we can check it more closely tomorrow when we go through this again. Hunter coin. Actually, not bad. This is taken some time now to make this bottom formation, and it didn't really react too much when Bitcoin came down. So if it does show strength out of this, it is setting up pretty good through historical support and resistance all the way along back here. So this one gets more favor now, and I'm going to make that an alert. Kyber network, KNC, there's a little wee 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. 3-month view, it gets wrecked on this chart. I have to go over to Binance and find KNC. 3-month view, well, it's not as good because it's not down to historical levels. It's lower than history. So if this had come down this far and now we're matching it, that would be good. But now I have to let it have more maturity. It has to come up and break these old lows and fight its way back up into Attentionville. So even though it could be, it could be a good time to buy into it, I'm not gonna. It doesn't match my ratings. Library credits now back over on Poloniex. LBC. Wow, look at that skewer to the downside, all the way down to 400 Satoshi. That was a nasty one. A lot of sales volume. That's a major capitulation low there. 1 week view. 1 month view. 3-month view. So this one was making its own, what are we looking at? Library credits, yeah. It had failed, right? before. It had failed, and it came down and made its own new 1, 2, 3 bottom. And last time I remember looking at it, it was still holding this 1, 2, 3 bottom, but then down she came hard. So this one, because it's failed so hard, I want it to retrace and build back up above where it was before. Zoom, 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 zoom. And really, it's got lots of room. If it does anything that it's done before, this is inconsequential to wait for this or that. Waiting for that is fine. There's lots of time to wait for that in where it's been before. So this does not get the alert symbol. Loom, got to go back to Binance. And zoom out. I like it because it's higher than these lows. So even it's not matching them, it's actually higher than. That's even better. So if I zoom into the 1 month view, it's not giving that nice 1, 2, 3 bottom formation though. Even in the 3-day view, it's made a bottom. So it has given a 1, number 2 point, number 3 point. Now it's gone sideways, and strength above these levels would fit into the trading pattern that we're looking at for all these other coins. We see a stronger on balance volume. We see the RSI is showing higher lows as well, so it's gaining momentum. It could be an entry at that point. So I'm gonna put this as an alert just so that we're alert to watch it. Put it in the wrong place. Lisk, how did you fare, my Lisk? All right, so it's making a 3 times off this level, 1, 2, 3 times off this level. What are we doing with the RSI? I'm going to zoom out to a 1 week view. So the RSI is giving us some divergence as well, while the bottoms are flat. That's good. On balance volume has shown from negative and moved up to a more positive state. But if I go to the 1 year view, this is the lowest it's been since April, May of 2017. So it's really down to historical lows. Reaching way back there for support and resistance. Not quite as favorable as everything else. So I can't make that an alert. Even though it could take off from this chart pattern here, it doesn't have the near term support. If it was matched these levels and did something like that, I would like it much better, but it's come down lower. I'm going to wait until it actually goes above these levels and builds a bigger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation inside this low here. So I'll leave that as neutral. Litecoin. 3-day view. Kind of looks like Lisk chart. And it's giving us the 1, 2, 3 bottom. It's giving us this triangle formation. But of course it was giving us that triangle formation here that was looking pretty good too. And then it dumped. 3-month view and zoom back, zoom back, zoom back. It's back to these historical levels that it was last December. But it broke below our August and September and October lows. So I'm going to make this one do some work too. It's got to come up above these levels here out of these. Give me a better bottom formation and then come up above these levels before you're going to get my vote in the spreadsheet. So I'll leave that as neutral and go on to MadeSafe coin, which was a buy signal last time we looked at it. MadeSafe coin, and it's still maintaining its buy signal formation. In fact, it's gone nice out of that. It's done well. Nice, good move up. And even at this level here, look what we have here. An ascending wedge triangle. Sometimes I wish I could drag these charts around. It just forces itself to scale itself. So that I can't drag it down to be able to draw a line at the top of this chart nicely. but we've got an ascending wedge triangle. So it's poking against this level, poking against this level, poking against this level, opposite to what we were seeing in Bitcoin, which was a descending wedge triangle. And we also saw an ascending wedge triangle back in 2015 in Bitcoin prices that was just before a big move to the upside. So if I go back to Bitfinex, Bitcoin US dollar, 1 year view, drag this chart back, change it so I can drag this chart back, drag it back, drag it back. Where's our ascending wedge triangle? We've got a couple of them. Here's one, ascending wedge triangle. All the way along here, there's our top of the wedge. There's the ascending wedge where prices just kept pushing against it, and then it finally took off. Then we had another ascending wedge triangle here that was on an angle. And I remember being in denial as this was happening. I was thinking, this is a top formation, it's going to come down from here. I was calling a top formation, and off it went. So these wedge triangles now I pay a lot more credence to, a lot more attention to, and we're seeing that right now in MadeSafe coin. Right now in MadeSafe coin in the very short-term view, but there it is again. So I'm predicting from that even though it's run up here and it looks pretty good, like it's done a pretty good move, I'm anticipating it's going to do even better yet. Just because of that formation, even though it's a very small time frame, it's important, I think. So this after all that, it maintains its buy signal. Mana maintains its buy signal too. I'm going to have to go over to Binance where there's enough data on this chart. Mana maintains its buy signal or moving average crossover. It's come up and pulled back. The moving averages haven't recrossed. And when I zoom into the 1 month view and the 1 week view, we're seeing where it's followed Bitcoin down and it's made a bottom formation and showed some strength. And I was doing some additional work on the IntroToCryptos.ca website, and I'm putting in customized descriptions and videos and stuff for each of the coins as I go along. There's a lot of them. It's going to take a while. But I did Mana, and I went through and I went to their website, I went to their Twitter, and they're having the second land sale inside Decentraland. Decentraland is a virtual reality land where you can create anything you want inside there. You buy that parcel of land and you can build things on it. It's a whole world, a whole economy in there. And they're having another land sale. And so I think that the price of the coin is going to be going up as people are buying the coin so that they have the coin on hand to purchase the land inside. And the land inside will be sold by a Dutch auction, which means that the price starts off at X and then it gets a little bit cheaper every single day until it's the time runs out or it's sold. So people who buy the best land will pay the most price, and people who wait a little while will pay a little bit less price, but they probably won't get the prime land. And so that gives me the idea that the price of this coin is going to be going up from now until that sale. And as soon as that sale's done, this is going to go down. So we'll have to watch some of those fundamental indicators as well as the chart patterns. So Mana, after all that, maintains its buy signal. And next we'll look at NAV coin. Let me update Mana. NAV coin, look at this, it's above these levels. So that's positive. Zoom into the 1 week view, and it's not giving us a nice 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's kind of that 3, 2, 1 thing. So now I would consider this to be the number 1. That's the number 2. This is the potential number 3. And so it does have potential for us to, can I drag this over? No. Does have potential to be a buy signal when this moves above these levels. Even though it's not the simple trading plan 1, 2, 3 bottom, I'm going to call it because it is right off, bouncing off of these support and resistance levels. This is a really good one, actually. And this is not a very high market cap coin. I was surprised actually to see where it ranks in the market cap. Namecoin. All right. It's down to new lows ever, I think. 1 year pullback. It's the lowest price ever. So I'm not going to give it an alert, even though it could take off from here. I'm going to ask this one to mature a bit more, at least above these levels. Give me at least that much strength in turning around. So I'll leave that one marked as neutral. NXT. Fail. It's right down to the lows from last December, October. But it needs to mature and turn around at least past these levels. So it needs to build a much better bottom, and it gets no marker. OMG. Fail. It's down to significant levels. Go to the 1 year view, and it's down to project inception lows. So it's another one that has to give me more juice. It has to prove itself more, at least above these levels, and preferably above these levels. And it's not given that turnaround type of feel. If I zoom into the 1 day, it is giving this exhaustion low here and a little bit higher prices, but it's not matching up to historical prices, so I'm just not giving it the favor. Omni's looking good at this time frame, and it's within its recent 1, 2, 3 bottom, and it's given us a new 1, 2, 3 bottom. So same thing as before. It's got to break above these levels. Maybe even these levels would be more prudent to wait for. If we go to a longer time frame, that's still nothing. Those lines look like they're right on top of each other, considering what it's done in the past. So nothing going on there. I'll leave that one marked as blank. And Pascal coin was a buy signal last time we looked at it. And it maintains its buy signal. After all of this, it's actually done really well. We've got 3 higher lows. I think this is going to see the moon here pretty soon, because it stayed right on this trend line. I like it. It's got some strength. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 times off this low. So certainly above these levels would be a buy signal. Absolutely. I'm going to mark this one as, well, it's already a buy, but I'm going to mark it as an alert. So we'll have to remember that this may turn into a dark green next time we see it. If it breaks above these levels on some really good volume, I would be happy to call it an add-on trade. Actually, one of the best add-on trade retracements and everything, and the trend line, really like it. Then we got PPC and then Quantum. There's, I put in our Discord chat, under in there where other crypto places. There's a cryptocalendar.pro. I'm going to copy and paste and put it into the chat. There's some 10,000 people following them on what is that? Telegram. 10,000 people following them on Telegram. And they have all sorts of information about what's going on. And there is a airdrop of some sort that is going to look at what you have in your PPC wallet, and it'll match that with an airdrop of something. I can't remember what. And that could be the reason why we see this breakout and maintaining strength. Even though Bitcoin has dropped, people are not selling out of this. They want to keep it for that airdrop. And of course, right after that airdrop, if they're not interested in this coin, they're going to drop it. You know, they'll be selling out of it. So again, paying attention to some of the fundamentals is really good. But even technically, we can see that it stayed holding above this number 2 point. And so it's an add-on trade, even though we didn't know about what's going on there. It's held this position and consolidating. The chart's telling us something is going on in this. And to back it up with news is even better. So this one remains a buy for now. And with that news, I'm going to update it to an add-on If it moves up at all, I would be adding on to that. And then I have to look at the news again to find out when that airdrop is, to be selling out like maybe even the day before the airdrop, so that you're getting out before everybody else is dumping. Next we got Quantum, Rep. Refresh the page maybe. So here we are looking at Quantum. It's giving us a good triangle formation here. Break above these levels, and actually breaking through this resistance area would be pretty good. Go out to a longer term view, and it's at recent historical prices, so that makes it into a legitimate springboard trade entry. If it breaks above these levels, we see these levels all the way along here, that would be a pretty significant move, just because of the market conditions and everything else building up to these potential springboard moves. Bitcoin at its own 1, 2, 3 bottom here in this time frame. All of these things put together change the approach just for this short time frame. And I'm going to put this one as an alert, another alert. So there's a ton of them that are alerts right now that could be taking off right away. And we did see Quantum, Rep. All right, so this broke higher out of this bottom, and it's coming up to retest these levels. I would like to see it pull back a little bit and then go higher, but it could be a buy right where it is. Yep, it's not bad. It's almost held these levels, and it's popped back up again. So maybe I would make it go above these old number 2s before getting back into that. It's not quite the same as some of the others, but not too bad. I won't put it as an alert. I'll make it work first. Then SBD was the next one. This was supposed to be a stable coin, but it's going up in value. And it marked itself as a buy as it broke out of here. So we got to respect that. It's still a buy. It still holds on to that position, even though I'm not going to be trading this market, because the supply of it changes drastically too, trying to keep it to $1. What is this now? I'm supposed to look at Siacoin. Siacoin broken below these lows from earlier. So it doesn't give me the same feel. If it had held those lows, I would have liked it a lot better. Now we have to go all the way back to December of 2017 to see these levels. Let's zoom in on it to the 3-day view, and it is laying flat right at these levels. It's giving us this formation that is actually could be a reversal. So it depends on your risk tolerance and your knowledge of this coin, whether or not this pattern would be an entry for you. I would like to see it mature a little bit more, so I want to see it make a bottom formation within these levels and then break above them after it's developed the bottom formation, so that I'm seeing that it's breaking above some of these levels from just the recent past at least. Then we're past some of the support and resistance levels here. Oops. SNT, it's down to new levels. It's lower than it was over here, so that doesn't jump into an alert, but it's not much lower, and it's making a nice double bottom 1, 2, 3 triangle shape here. It's showing strength. It could be a buy. It could be, but I'm not going to mark it as an alert. It just does, because it didn't match those prior support and resistance. Even though it's making a good looking formation in this short time, I'm going to leave that as neutral and move on to look at Steam, which was a fail last time we looked at it. It was a fail because it came down below these levels. If we zoom out to the 3-month view and take, yeah, it's It's gone down too far. If it had held these levels from just the recent past, then I would be saying, okay, this was pretty good. It's given us the pre-pump. It's making kind of a formation here, but not going to get onto the fast track. It's already failed that. Storage. So it's made a bottom, it's pulled up. Let's go out to the 3-month view, and it's matching these prior levels, and that's good. So then it qualifies to become an alert on a break above these levels. Maybe even this level instead. Zoom back in on it. Zoom into the 3-day view. Then we're starting to see the pre-pump candles, the bottom formation shape. But that's really tight. That's a very small little formation there. It's just because we're at such historical lows and it's maintained its lows from early September that it gives more credence to this if you want to be jumping in there. But there's still lots of time to wait for a proper 1, 2, 3 bottom on this. I'm not going to mark it as an alert. So then we're on to STR, which is maintaining its buy signal status for certain. It's really fighting at the top here. It may be taking off. Do we have an ascending wedge triangle? Not really. 1-month view, kind of, but not fully, because it's already broken that and then pulled back. So going up from here would be bullish, and since it's already a buy and it's not pulled back into where we can add on to it, it will just leave it as that buy signal, maintaining that buy. It hasn't pulled back to where I'm saying that let's add on. Strat. 3-month view, pull back. It is down to new lows here. 1-year view. So it's down to new lows. It's all the way back to early 2017. So even if it makes a beautiful little formation here in the 3-day view, I can't give it the alert. It would have to break above these levels. So it's going to have to bounce around a little bit and get some strength. Go to the 3-month view again. And then, yeah, at those levels, it's just touching against the very bottoms of before. So that's pretty early to be buying in. So it doesn't get an alert. We'll leave it as neutral for now. Syscoin was looking pretty bad last time we were looking at it. It came down to new lows. It broke past the lows in September, October. It's all the way back to old March of 2017 levels. So it needs much more time now to mature. It's got to be breaking above these levels. Maybe even wait till it breaks above these levels. It's got to tell us something's going on in this project, and that chart's not telling me it. So it doesn't get anything. Viacoin. Down to new lows. It broke the recent lows. It's down back to March of 2017 again. So it's got to now rebuild and break some levels here, even if it takes a bit of time. Then the next one is VTC. Also really broke down. I didn't want that. I want the longer term view. Again, way back to March of 2017. It needs to break above these levels now. It needs to really mature that bottom formation. So those ones don't get any markings at all. Counterparty and XEM. X counterparty. I still like this chart, even though I'm not sure about the project and how. I like this chart. If it breaks above those levels, that's a buy signal. And I think in the 3-month view, yeah, the moving average had crossed over. It pulled back to these inside levels, so it's back to the 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. On a break above that number 2, it would be good. I'm going to actually put that as an alert. XEM. Some of the Binance lists are starting to make a move. I think that no matter where we're looking, we're going to be seeing moves in all of these coins now. They've been pressed down as far as they can be, And now they've gotten squeezed out, so that all of the, what would they say, the weak hands have been squeezed out as well. And certainly if you have, if you're a hedge fund and you are trying to actually take a position in these markets, you might have the experience to know how much you could put into this to shake everything up and be buying them all at these super low levels. Now, these are the hedge funds buying these big candles up into these markets. They know more than we do about trading. And this is looking great. Look at this ascending wedge triangle. This is an add-on signal. Where are we? We had a buy signal in this. Then it turned into an alert. Maybe that was saying that they should be a buy, an add-on. But now I'm going to say it again. I'm going to put this back to green here so that I know that what I'm saying is an add-on, not just a buy. And this will turn into a dark green candle next. And I'm certain it will. Actually, when I go to the coin market cap and you look at the coin dominance and take a look at, strip everything else out so that you're just looking at XEM. It's one of the few that has an uptrend against everything else in coin dominance. This one and XRP and STR are building dominance over the whole market. And I think this is going to go. I wonder if I own enough of it. XMR, probably not. If I'm wondering, I know I don't. XMR is not looking very good. However, it's within these levels. So I'm going to make it break above these levels before I give it a buy signal. I'm not going to even mark it as an alert, but it is pretty positive that it's staying above the support and resistance from these levels here. Then we're on to XPM, which has been a fail for so long now. Then Ripples after that. XPM, still a fail. It's just as straight line as can be there. Amazing. And Ripple, if we go to the long-term view on this, so we're looking at the one-day charts. Let's go to the 1 week charts. Now it's given us perspective on the long uptrend, and the excitement in the market at a couple different times is unbelievable, and then all the way back, unbelievable, and all the way back down. So this is when news comes out that's talking about how transformational this technology is, and then it's sold down because everybody hates that they're an actual digital currency, they're not decentralized and all that. Then the reality of how amazing this technology is, and then everybody's selling it out. Now the reality of how amazing this technology is starting to wake up again, and everybody is starting to have big predictions about this going to $500, going to $5,000, and it's at 50 cents right now. But even before I was reading about all that and learning about all that, let's go with the 1 month view. When this broke out of this pattern, it was a buy signal for us. As it consolidated here, it was an add-on signal for us. And now it's come up to these levels, and we zoom into the 1 week view, the 3-day view. Let me clear that line out of there. It is consolidating nicely. It's not the nice ascending wedge triangle that I want it to be, but it's consolidating into something. And since it's on an uptrend and the whole market is getting very excited about it, I'm anticipating that this one's going to go higher from here. And there's no word from the chart yet what it's doing. At this level, this is kind of an ascending wedge triangle. We've got a pretty steady increase, and it's bumping up against this level a couple times. A break above that level would be very bullish. But it's not giving away its secrets yet. What do we say about Strat at this time frame? All right, it's got the ascending wedge triangle building up, very much the same. A much better looking triangle in this time frame. So anyway, this one maintains its dark green for having been an add-on signal. And that is very profitable to have an add-on signal that's turned out this long and done well. So even if we chipped out and had small losses in a bunch of other markets, that one that is doing so well really takes care of a lot of those little small losses. Nothing doing here, even though it's back to historical levels, that is pretty nice. Now when I zoom in, I've got to see a bottom formation, not lower lows. So this doesn't gain any alerts. How about this one now? It is holding at these support and resistance levels. Zoom into the 1 week view, and we do have a candle, a double bottom here, and strength above this level would be a springboard trade entry. On the 3-month view, the moving averages haven't gone near crossing over. It hasn't broken above the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, but for the springboard entry, this matches up pretty good. And there are different entries and different risk controls on them, except that we always use rule number 1 and rule number 2. Rule number 1 is that you assume that you are wrong when you put on the trade. Assume you're wrong, and then you reduce or remove your position if it doesn't prove you're right. The only reason you hold it is that if it proves you right, then you hold it. And actually then you're going to be adding on to it. So there we go. This is it has to get the alert. I have to take my biases aside, and just that chart matches up with all the other ones that are giving alerts. It matches the same as those. So we have quite a few alerts going on here today. And I'm going to take this chart and move it back. So that is talking about what we did from September until now. This is what we were watching, and that's all the data that it gave. But we've had a big reset here today. And I'm going to mark that as our reset day, and we'll start again our studies from here and see what's going on. Whoops. And we'll come back in and we'll tune this up. It may not be tomorrow afternoon, but usually every day or two it's good to come through and do these things. We've already got the alert in here because this is just technical analysis. This is not actual trading. They're different. And NAV market cap is 12 million, 222nd place of 2,700. And what I was doing the other day on IntroToCryptos is I was looking for markets that were interesting. So as this is loading up, I went through. So this is number 51, Decentraland, another 101. And now we're into market cap of 22 million. And 13 million. So what I was doing was I was looking through these markets to see which market here has about 10 million thereabouts of market cap. Maybe it was the next page. There's our 12 million. So I'll go back to the previous page. Scroll down to 222. Oh, it's moved itself up to 219 now. And I was going through these things. I was looking for things that are about $10 million market cap. That's not the same one. At any rate, I was looking for things, here we go, that were about $10 million market cap that had been done $1 million worth of trading volume. So like 10% of the entire market cap was done in a 24-hour period. And that was during the big dump. So that was yesterday or the day before. And I was looking at these things to see which ones did that kind of massive trade volume compared to their overall market cap. And then I was going in and I was researching more about those coins. So here's NAV coin and the chart for it. Here's another one, and the chart will load up there. And so I was going through all of these coins, and then I was finding their Twitter account, I was finding their website, and I was checking out for a YouTube video, and I was updating this page with additional content on some of these markets. So I was really starting to get to know what's going on with some of them. And if you're following on Twitter, twitter.com/IntroToCryptos. And I'll go to my tweets and scroll down. So here's, I was doing studies on one chain. This is a little bit later. I was doing higher market cap things, but earlier I was doing 12, 13 hours, 22 hours here yesterday. These ones here are about $10 million, $12 million market cap, and they had done some huge moves. It was down 12% that day. Market cap of 5 million, market cap of 4 million, market cap of 6.9 million. And I was learning about each of these projects, and I would go through and update it to see if they had a YouTube video and just post information about it, update the page so that I could learn more about each project. There was quite some fantastic things going on as I was learning about these. So I would put in the video to increase the amount of usefulness of these pages, a little bit different than anybody else who's got this same plugin in their WordPress website. And there was lots of these coins that were coming down to historical levels. Really fantastic. They are good projects. They have pretty good market cap, and they had massive volume of everybody selling. So a market cap of 9 million and a volume of 700,000, that's 10% of the entire market cap traded in one day. And the day before that, I think it was over $1 million. So that was a huge amount of selling going on, which is, as we're seeing now in our spreadsheet, it's turning out to be a fantastic day to be shopping. All of these lows now making formations that are all alerts for us. So there's a great amount of opportunity right now. And we'll watch this play out over time. Even though it's quite demoralizing the last few days to watch it all go down, got to keep watching, got to keep watching. Those are the best days, even though if we didn't sell out, they're kind of killing us. So anyway, that pretty much covers it all. That goes through the whole bit and a little bit of extra research, and I hope you go and use IntroToCryptos.ca website for checking out different details on the coins. And follow me on Twitter. You'll see which of these markets I've updated. And when I have updated these, they will include all of the information I can find, a better write-up than is included from CoinMarketCap. And I also go and find a video from them and put that on there so that you can learn more about these tokens. Some of these are really great projects that are really unique and offering some really great solutions. And right now, the prices on them are just drop-dead bargains. Absolutely fantastic. Here's a masternode platform. Makes it easy to set up masternode ownership. You can buy shares of a masternode. You don't have to buy the entire masternode. Some really great things. And some of them you go, okay, well, another decentralized thing for content ownership and just monetization. There's a lot of them, sort of like Steam It. And you have to really look into them to see if they're going to be something that's good. Hydro, Internet Node Token, Primus, premium quality content. Monetha is going up in really, it was doing really well. And then here, it's dove. Botos is an artificial intelligence data sharing network. This, I think, has got potential. So there's some really great stuff here. A new standard in aviation safety, maybe. This cars, making security for cars against cyber attacks, because there's so many more autonomous vehicles and so many more connected cars that they are going to become under cyber threats, just like viruses on your computer. So some of these are pretty interesting projects. Leo, I don't know. An IoT operating system. This is pretty interesting because it connects hardware and software to speed up the communication of Internet of Things. So like your refrigerator, your microwave, your heating system. There's going to be more and more things like that where your toaster will be connected to the internet, and when you put in a specific type of toast, it will go and double check with the internet to find out exactly how long to toast it. Your microwave will be able to read the barcode on your popcorn and pop it perfectly. No more burnt popcorn, because these things will be connected to the internet. And there's going to be an operating system that keeps them safe, so they're not going to be hacked. All sorts of really great stuff. Self-key. WePower is going to fuel energy production, enabling smart contracts for selling energy. Really some fantastic stuff here. So I hope you follow on Twitter and check out the website for all the details that you're looking for on the coins. This will be get better and better over time as I keep filling it out. So that's it for this time. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the dozen people that are here right now. And 9 people, 1 person over on Twitch. Great to have you here. There was more people earlier, but I'm rambling now, so I can appreciate that you're done with this. Anyway, I'll sign off for now. Thanks again, Old Scott. I enjoy doing this stuff. I do this stuff without you guys watching, so to have you watching and I can share the benefit, even better. And I really can't wait for all of our success stories. And I hear you telling me, hey, I had a $10,000 day. I took $1,000 and I grew it into 10,000. That's the kind of day I'm looking forward to. And I dream about it. I imagine it as I'm getting ready for these programs. This is what I want to hear from you. I put $1,000 into XCM and it turned into 10,000. I know those days are coming. So all the best to you. I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.